I was thinking the same. So, Allison, we are going to get a divorce. Please leave here immediately. During our married life, I was forced to live with my in-laws and even had to help with loan repayments, only to be suddenly deemed unnecessary and told about the divorce. I have even reached the limits of my patience. Sadly, I thought of putting everyone in my in-laws' family, including my husband, into a difficult situation. My name is Allison and I am 34 years old. This year marks the 6th year of my marriage with my husband, Ethan. We don't have any children yet, and to be honest, our relationship has completely cooled off. I thought marrying you would bring a more exciting life, but it was surprising. Well, you can spend your life working here as a maid. Don't act too big. About half a year into our marriage, my husband started calling me you, and I can't even remember the last time he called me honey. I wonder why I married such a heartless man. Sometimes I reflect on the past, but the details of those memories have become blurred. However, my husband was much warmer, more compassionate, and trustworthy than he is now. Because I grew up in a PUA family, I strongly wish to avoid economic hardships when getting married. For this reason, I completely ruled out men who liked gambling as potential marriage partners. Even after entering society following high school, I carried the habits of my poor days. When buying something, I would overthink and be cautious. Ethan saw my cautious behavior as practical and economical, which might have been a big factor in his decision to marry me. How much savings do you have, Allison? You don't seem interested in luxury or fashion. Actually, I'm similar to you. Our personalities match, and our financial values seem to align, Ethan would often say to me. For me, who desperately wanted to avoid a poor life, having a husband with matching financial values was truly a blessing. It further deepened our bond. Married life is built on mutual understanding and support. We pride ourselves on understanding each other concerning money. The days spent with Ethan were fulfilling due to less financial worries. But on reflection, commenting on someone else's savings is a breach of etiquette, and casually stating a lack of interest in fashion is unacceptable. As a woman, being indifferent to fashion is unimaginable. My savings, well, I'm not sure about the exact amount, but I definitely try to save most of my monthly salary. Oh, and I am very interested in fashion. I always skillfully avoided financial questions to prevent further prying. We got engaged within a year of dating, but after we got married, Ethan's behavior gradually began to change. The unexpected suggestion of living with his parents came just after we got married. When Ethan returned from work, he started with excitement. I have something to discuss with you, Allison. Don't be shocked. His expression at that time gave me an ominous feeling. The topic he brought up was beyond my worst expectations. Ethan suggested that we start living with his parents during our newlywed period. It was a shocking proposition for me and had a significant impact on our relationship. This suggestion was far from what I had hoped for before marriage. I had dreamed of building our small world through our married life, but this proposal shattered that dream. For me, life with Ethan was supposed to be about just the two of us, without the intervention of others. Accepting this proposition was far from my ideal, marking a major crossroads in my relationship with Ethan. Ethan's unexpected suggestion became a significant trial for us as a couple and greatly influenced my values and expectations. It was a painful reminder that unexpected challenges can arise in married life. After discussing with my mom, I decided we should live with her. She gets lonely without me, and our apartment lease is ending soon, so I decided we should move, he announced. My opinion was completely ignored, and it seemed he and his mother had already made many decisions. Wait, isn't that too sudden? Your family home is quite far from my workplace. I really wanted to avoid living together, so I raised an objection, but I was firmly told that it had already been decided. He was always saying "Mom, Mom," which was off-putting enough. But what he said next was even more shocking. The house is too small and inconvenient for 4 people to live in, especially since my sister often visits. That's why I'm taking out a loan to renovate the house, Ethan said. This decision, too, was made without consulting me, and he had taken out a loan on his own. Can it be true? Is he serious? Before I could hear the whole story, I was speechless. How am I going to deal with this self-centered man from now on? That question crossed my mind. Life in my in-laws' home, and the frequent appearances of my sister-in-law. After a series of unbelievable stories, my husband made an even more shocking statement. That's why I want you to quit your current job. From now on, you must take care of my parents, not live just as my wife. If you still want to work, I'll allow you to do some work from home, he said. The development of the conversation was too sudden and one-sided, and it took time for me to accept and understand the situation. What? Why are you being so unreasonable? You're not considering my feelings at all. What? Why do I have to consider your feelings? I'm the head of the family, so I make all the decisions, he argued back. I had been working on plans for years, and now I'm being asked to give them up and become a full-time housewife. Gradually, I began to see the essence of what my husband was trying to say. I never imagined that I would end up in this situation within a year of marriage. Originally, I wanted to rebel against what I saw as a breach of promise, but I lacked the courage and didn't want to burden my parents. In the end, I had no choice but to comply. All right. I'll quit my job and live with you. But if there are any mother-in-law issues, please listen to me. That's all I ask. Yeah, don't worry. Listening is easy. After all, I'm on your side. I was serious, but it seemed that my husband was taking it lightly. And as expected, as soon as we started living together, conflicts between me and my mother-in-law began. The renovated house was larger than expected, and private space was secured, but I became busy with daily chores. I was still working right after the move, but my mother-in-law, interested in my work situation, said, "Hey, when are you going to quit your job and focus on housework? The house won't be in order if you keep this up." Every day, I faced one-sided criticism upon returning home exhausted. Initially, my husband had promised to support me with mother-in-law issues, but in reality, he never stood up for me, and eventually, he and his mother started blaming me together. You know, have you ever considered my mother's age? It's unreasonable to push housework onto her. I somehow ended up being the bad person just because I asked them to manage their own affairs. My father-in-law was present but barely noticeable, trying to escape the household troubles. "Excuse me, father. May I have a word?" Even when I tried to talk to him, he said, "No, don't talk to me. If she sees me talking to you, I don't know what my wife will say." It was just a simple question about the location of the circuit breaker. It's troubling that even such trivial conversation is not possible. 2 weeks after moving in, my husband and his mother started threatening me. "When are you quitting your job? If you don't, we'll contact your company." And a week after that talk, my resignation was decided. Despite resigning under pressure from my mother-in-law and husband, there were no words of gratitude from them. What followed were days of being made to work at home. "And since you quit your job and our income has decreased, don't just rely on me, but think of ways to earn money through home-based work," I was told. I realized I was being demanded to not be lazy and handle everything. I lost the energy to even argue in surprise. There was hardly any conversation between my husband and I had essentially become like a dedicated housemaid for his family. During this time, my husband's sister, Mary, often visited and confronted me, saying, "Hey, you're not leaving Ethan to pay off the house loan all by himself, are you? If you're living here, you should contribute to the repayments too." The renovation probably costed nearly $500,000. Why should I bear such responsibility? It felt unfair. Being held accountable just for living together seemed unreasonable to me. Forcing cohabitation from the start, pushing through a renovation, making me quit my job, and then demanding payments for the loan. This situation was abnormal from any angle. Normally, this wouldn't happen. I clearly felt that I married the wrong person. That night, my husband said with a smile, as